Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Intel X3 Masters Cologne, where it is the day of the finals, a best of 5 to decide our next Intel X3 Masters champion. Will it be Counterlogic Gaming or will it be Gambit? I'm Eve Shock supporter, joined here at the desk by Mitch Kreppel-Voorspoels and Brandon St. Vicious DeMarco. And well, fantastic matchup coming up here. We'll see. Will it be Gambit? They have won in the past and so has CLG. Doublelift hasn't though, so it'll be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how they rank up against each other. Honestly, I did not expect Gambit CLG to be this final. Like, coming into this tournament, it would have been Rocket against Dignitas in my mind, if I remember the brackets correctly. And yeah, Rocket kind of choked there. That game 2, they gave it over to CLG. CLG capitalized really well on that. And at the same time, Gambit just every IEM, I rule them out somehow. I'm like, nah, Gambit's not gonna take this. And then they do suddenly, magically appear in the finals.
And they show up. Let's actually take a look at the bracket to see exactly how these teams got here to the finals. It was, of course, Rocket beating the Dolphins of Wall Street the very first day, but then getting knocked out by CLG 2-1. And Team Dignitas beating Aces High, but yesterday also losing 2-1 to Gambit. And CLG versus Gambit Gaming in the final. A very nice final, I would say, and we especially seen some of the new players and the older players, and definitely the changes of the teams coming into play here. I'm thinking of Link, I'm thinking of Pinoy and Cabochard for Gambit, so it's nice to see that their teams are definitely adapting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that CLG actually played decently with Inkard, but if anybody remembers CLG history, they only win tournaments where they have a sub, so they have that going for them here. They actually have a chance of winning now, but this would actually be Doublelift's first tournament win. Let's see if they can pull it together.
It'll be equally beautiful for Gambit to win or Doublelift to win the first tournament, of course. I'd like to remind you guys at home as well that you can vote for your MVP for IEM Cologne. Just go to facebook.com/IEM and you can vote for either Pinoy, Zion Spartan, Link, Doublelift, or Cabochard. Guys, who would you give it to before the final?
I'm going to say the card master, the Hearthstone mastermind himself, Link. He actually played pretty good this tournament. He looked really good in the LeBlanc, and a lot of people doubted him when he's coming into this, and I thought he actually played pretty decent yesterday.
Kreppel.
I think it's all going to depend on the final. But a performance that surprised me was Pinoy. He looked danger in the eye and just stood still and said, okay, come at me and I'll just kill you guys. So many moments where I felt, yeah, okay, he overextended slightly, or he's dead, or they caught him out, and then he gets the jet. Like, of course, he couldn't do it without his team. You know, he got like 3 shields and Mikhail's on him, but he just stood still, blew them up. I still remember that phase where Crumbs tried to get him with Rengar yesterday, and pops the ghost blade, and we see like Rengar lurking to jump on Pinoy, and he just turns around and just buckshots 2 autos, and yeah, goodbye, kitty. He just played super solid.
Well, definitely not a good memory for Crumbs. We do have Crumbs standing by with Carmack. I hope he isn't too harsh on him, so take it away, Carmack.
Thanks, Shocks. Indeed, Alberto Rengifo, Crumbs from Dignitas. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I wanted to chat with you because I found out something about you this weekend that I don't think a lot of people know in the scene, or at least it's not common knowledge. You're actually Venezuelan, right?
Yeah, I was born there, and then I moved to Canada when I was 14, so I lived my first teen years there, then 5 years in Canada in Vancouver, and then almost 3 years now in Los Angeles due to the LCS.
I'm kind of interested in your backstory because, you know, most of these LCS players actually grew up in what you would call a normal family, you know, house dog PC, and got good at video games, whereas from what I found out, your parents basically decided that they want to give you a better future than they see for you in Venezuela, and took you to Canada. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes, well, the government situation in Venezuela wasn't looking too good at the time, and when that happened, they decided that they wanted to just get a better future for my brother and I. So they enrolled him and I in an American school since the 3rd grade. So I was able to learn English from very young, have no accent because of that. And then, yeah, I wouldn't have known otherwise that the world wasn't like it was in Venezuela had I not left, but they took me to Canada, and obviously I was heartbroken because I didn't know anything else. You don't really get to see, like, you're not seeing YouTube videos back then, or like the television showing you what the outside world is like. And when I got to Canada, then there's so many more opportunities there, and I mean, I would have never guessed that I'd end up doing this right now.
Is it like, now you look back at it, you obviously were a kid at the time, probably didn't have perspective, but now that you look back, do you feel like it was a good thing for you that your parents took you? Do you feel like you could have actually had a nice life in Venezuela?
I think if I stayed in Venezuela, I probably would have been able to make a nice life, but it would be limited to what I would know. So I would have a lot less knowledge and then just have a decent life regarding that. But now I know so much more and know all the options that are available out there. And that, for me, is all that really matters. So looking back on it, it was the best decision by far, and I'm really glad they did that for me.
So how is it growing up in Venezuela? Is it I mean, it's South America. People in Europe don't know too much about it. People in the US don't really probably know too much about it. Is it rough? Are there rough neighborhoods? Where did you grow up?
Yeah, well, I grew up in about middle class, but the most important thing that is different from the entire rest of the world that people may not know is that there's a lot of things that you can take for granted when you're living in Canada and in the United States. I'm not sure about Europe because I haven't lived there, but it's very unsafe to be there in South America. There's a lot of things and activities that you just can't do by yourself. You can't be going out at night, like 8 p.m. by yourself. That's unheard of. Like, you should not be doing that. There's a lot of danger as a child. Like, I knew multiple people from my school that would just be kidnapped by drivers, and there's kidnaps, shootings all the time. So you're very restricted to just being around your family and the people who you trusted. So meeting strangers and trusting somebody was something that is very difficult to do from being there.
That sounds actually very scary to me.
Yeah.
But did you, as a kid, did you get in trouble at all, or were you just sticking to?
Well, my life revolved mostly around school and sailing. I was enrolled in sailing, and I did that for about 8 years, like 5 or 6 of those competitively. But my father taught at my school as well, so I couldn't really get into trouble there. So besides that, I was just kind of trying to get by. I really enjoyed sailing and school as well. But on my downtime, I just get in trouble by gaming a lot, right? Like, even though I was over there and the PC at my house didn't have internet, but I'd still find ways to just game all day. I'd just be playing like World of Warcraft, Need for Speed, anything that didn't require internet, I'd be playing, and I really enjoyed that. And from there is kind of where the gaming started, where my parents had a computer business where in the year 2000 and a little bit earlier, people didn't really know how to use computers, so they teach you how to use a computer. So they teach schools, teach older people, okay, this is the future, you need to know how to use this. And in my free time, I just go to their work and start gaming there.
How did it feel at the age of 14 to be uprooted and taken to a country which you know little about?
The only thing I knew about Canada was that it spoke English. And when they told me, obviously they were elated. They absolutely were ecstatic. And I was very sad at the time. I was really sad, and I didn't want to go. It took me a long time to accept that it was actually going to happen, that I was going to leave everything behind, right? And all my friends, everybody that I knew, it's like, yeah, I'm leaving in like a month. Things like that. It's like, I'll never see you again. It's like, goodbye. So it was very heartbreaking for me at the time. And when I got to Canada, it was still very difficult, but the people there, luckily, were very nice. And it took me some time, but I've eventually managed to make good friendships there.
Do you keep in touch with anybody in Venezuela?
Truth be told, no. I talk to maybe once every couple of years, a couple of messages. Before it was better, but now I don't really speak to anybody from there besides my family.
Talk to me a little bit about sailing, because that seems interesting to me. Sailing, competitive sailing isn't very common. How good were you, really?
Well, I won the national sailing competition once, and I got second place due to some disqualifications a couple times. But I felt I was pretty good. I got to go to a lot of countries in South America just to represent Venezuela as a whole with another part of the team, and went to World Championships, went to North American Championships, South American Championships, and I got to that level, but I never really won anything major outside the national level.
What's a skill set that you develop sailing?
The biggest thing is that you need to keep track of a lot of things all the time. So the boat is a very intricate piece of equipment in the sense that there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that need constant attention, and same goes with the wind, the waves, your body, all of it needs to be constantly looked after. And that's something that requires quite a bit of finesse and just experience to do so. And I think that that's the biggest thing that developed for me, just doing that on and on and on. And you also get to enjoy just solitude, I'd say, just because, you know, you're by yourself the entire time in the middle of the ocean in a small boat that's about 2 meters long, and you got to enjoy it somehow.
So these attributes that you've developed sailing, would you say those make you a good League of Legends player?
I'd say yes and no, because that makes me a good individual player. But the fact that it's a one-man boat sailing means that every thought that I have, every plan that I want to do, has always been self-trained to keep to myself. There's nobody I have to say, oh, let's do this. Oh, let's do that. Come do this with me. And in the League of Legends environment where it's a team, I have to completely shed that, which it's been with me my whole life, and just completely switch it around, which is honestly the most difficult part, just being able to break out of an individual and be a better teammate.
Okay. Speaking of League of Legends, you guys have played Gambit Gaming in the semi-final. You lost. You've learned a lot about yourselves. We can talk about it another time. What did you learn about Gambit specifically, and what would your prediction be for this final?
I learned about Gambit that they have a very erratic play. So it's very difficult to just say this is what they're going to do. I didn't really feel like I had a grasp as to what they were doing, and that caught us off guard. Just because they're picks and bans. Obviously, it's a preseason, but with the exception of that, it's a difficult team to adapt to, I'd say, to just understand what their thought process is, and I think that's a huge strength for them. But with that being said, I do believe that the game that we're going to have here, the grand final, will probably go 3-1, I'd say, in favor of CLG. Counter Logic Gaming took down Rocket, which looked like it was going to be the favorite for the tournament, but I feel like they just may have the upper edge, to be honest. I liked what they were doing with the games yesterday, and more so, I really liked Link. We had the question of, is he going to step it up, and he has really proven himself.
And finally, Doublelift can win something for a change.
Yeah, you know, that'd be nice for him to have, but I'd like to. I want to see him just enjoy it, to be honest. Just win or lose, just have fun playing.
So your prediction 3-1?
Yes, CLG 3-1.
All right, thank you very much, Crumbs.
Right, thank you.
Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Carmack, and thank you very much for that really nice interview with Crumbs. Got to know a lot about him. Did you guys do anything ever competitive outside of League of Legends? You're like a very good football player or tennis or whatever?
Played a mean air guitar. I was pretty good at it.
Air guitar, Crepo.
I was actually a pretty decent keeper in football, but then the goals kept getting bigger as I aged, but I didn't. So I adopted a different path, so I started getting wider just to get more surface fill, but then gravity started happening and it all went downhill, so I just started playing more video games.
And now you're not even in LCS?
Wow.
Oh.
Wow, sucks.
I'm so sorry, I had to.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the game. So let's get the team sheet for our first team here up on the screen. It is Counter Logic Gaming, of course, with Zion Spartan in the top lane, Thinkard in the jungle, Link in that mid lane, and Rush Hour, Doublelift, and Afromu holding down the bottom lane. Doublelift and Afromu yesterday, they didn't get off to the best start with that Vayne Alistar lane, but then great adaptation later, Crepo.
Yeah, well, they did get camped a lot, though, with the double globals, and impressive that they didn't really tilt. Talked a little bit to Afromu after the game as well. He felt really bad about game one. He died a lot of times, and kind of got to him, but then he unleashed his shot caller. He said, okay, guys, you're listening to me now. You're doing this and this and this. And you could definitely see CLG played a better strategic game 2 and 3. And I really think if they listen to Afromu and they follow him around and they don't play that style where they give Doublelift the opportunity to go off and farm. Because yes, in a Vayne composition, Vayne should split and Vayne should farm, but I don't think that's good for CLG right now. I think they should just play together, work as a team, and then they should be able to outclass Gambit.
All right, what about Link? Because obviously that was one of the focal points coming in here. He also said he really wanted to prove himself, and he did step up there, and that must give them an extra boost.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody always focuses on the bottom lanes. Like, oh, we got to take Doublelift out of the lane. You even saw they had double globals to do it. They had Pantheon and Gangplank, but both Zion, Spartan, and Link actually came out really well, and they ended up carrying the team on their backs, and they gave Doublelift some of the breathing room to actually get really fed on Caitlyn, and it just worked out great. They have a lot better team dynamic than they did last season, I think.
Yeah, did you guys specifically see that change that Zion Spartan is in the top lane and there's someone who can carry on his own now? Did that change the dynamic of the team immediately yesterday already?
Well, I think Seraph could carry on his own as well if he wasn't gutted every game. But at least I think Zion The thing is, Zion speaks English well enough so he can articulate his thoughts and say like, okay, guys, this is where I screwed up. Here is why. When you play with a foreign player that has a limited ability to speak English, it's really hard for him to explain why things went wrong or what exactly he wants to achieve. And then people might just, automatically shift the blame. And then once they have a rough team environment like they had last year, they might just, okay, let's take everything away from Serv, just play 4-man map, leave him alone there. Zion Spartan is renowned to be a good top laner. He's been playing different styles already, so they might be able to listen to him more. And especially, this is the start, everybody gets more leeway. Right when you join a team, you have a little more leeway to say like, okay, let's try this. So I think CLG can grow a lot better with this roster swap.
Now, let's take a look at the roster for their opponents. Gambit Gaming, as they arrived here on stage today. It's going to be Cabo Shard in the top lane, Diamond in the jungle, Nixilin at mid lane, and Pinoy and Edward in the bottom lane. And, well, I'd like to start with the same thing also, the bottom lane, Pinoy and Edward. Edward's been around forever, but now in Pinoy, it's definitely a totally dynamic down in that bottom lane.
Yeah, we don't see 4 Dorans or anything like that going on down there. They actually look pretty aggressive, and the team fighting, I think, is what really excelled for them. The lane phase is like, okay, it's whatever, but just team fighting in general, when he was on that Graze, he just went to town. He just, like you said, he stood his ground. He, knew the damage he could take, and it just looked really good.
And then in that mid lane, it's still Nick, who also showed up yesterday, and it's very nice to see him growing in that team composition, especially with all the things that keep changing around him.
Yeah, I really think Nick just needs more and more LAN experience, because I think in solo queue, whenever you meet him, he's a really good player. He has a pretty high skill ceiling, so I'm just looking forward to see him grow just in the offline environment, and I have high hopes for him.
Then looking at that top lane, Cabo Shard, of course, everyone's actually talking about it. I googled it. It's a perfume. It's a sort of perfume, Cabo Shard. So yeah, there you go. You
Thanks
can do
for
with that info what you want. He did fantastic yesterday. No, I'm not trying to tell you something. I just thought I'd get that out there.
I
But
know what
anyway.
I'm getting you for Christmas, okay?
Oh yes, some perfume. Anyway, fantastic game by him as well. He just looks fantastic in that team on Aurelia. Not that much on Azir, but I guess the rest of the team carried their weight for him.
I'm actually really curious because CLG faltered in the 2v1, and a lot of the 2v1 is on the top laner to basically know where to go and when to go. And they actually... Gambit and Dignitas actually 2v1'd each other in the games before this, and I'm really curious if CLG will be able to react to that, because it looks like Gambit actually wants the 2v1, and they look a little bit more at home with it, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
Yeah. Crumbs was saying 3-1 for CLG. Crepa?
It's really hard to say, so yeah, sure, 3-1 CLG, but Gambit could surprise me, and I've been wrong before.
Think.
3-1 CLG.
Okay, what are we thinking here going into picks and bans for these two? As Crumb said as well, they're just very erratic, Gambit in-game and also in their picks and bans, so it's going to be hard for CLG to properly prepare for that. Aurelia, maybe.
Are we going to see that Sejuani ban? Saying?
I don't think there's going to be any Sejuani ban, but the Gambit's they're targeting jungle bans right away. There's the Pantheon and the Lee Sin. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Jarvan ban too, or even just forcing CLG into first picking it.
Yeah, right now CLG pretty much has to first pick Jarvan. If I'm CLG, I wouldn't even feel forced. I'd be happy. First pick Jarvan, good flex pick, does well into the top lane Lissandra that's played a lot over in NA. However, EU hasn't been playing any top lane Lissandra, so the value of that Jarvan seems to be a little less than it should be. Azir ban comes out from CLG here. I guess they don't want to get 2v1 with the Azir Janna cheese or whatever it was.
And on they have the Jace and the Syndra, the mid lane bans targeted there versus Nick, and also to put Link maybe in his comfort zone.
All right, well, there's the Jarvan ban, so I'm actually really curious if CLG's going to first pick it. There's a lot of stuff up. There's Corki, but a lot of people are kind of scared to pick that when Sivir's up. There's LeBlanc, which they first picked yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Link looked really happy to play that. But, I mean, Zed's still on the board, so really just depends on how comfortable he is with that.
This is pretty interesting from Gambit. They basically say, okay, you're playing with a sub. Let's ban 3 of his champions. Let's see what that guy can do once he's off his comfort champions.
Diamond wants to go to town on him. Yeah. We'll see, of course. Aurelia first pick.
That's actually been something that's only really happened this tournament, where they have a super high priority on Aurelia, but
it's been working out though for a lot of people in this tournament so far.
Yeah, I think that just comes from the fact that there hasn't really been a lot of 2v1ing, and I think that Aurelia can actually get shut down pretty hard if you deny her in 2v1 well. But yeah, I think that Gambit's going to try to 2v1 that this game and try to pick around that.
And of course, yesterday Cabo Shard had 2 huge games on Aurelia. You have to keep that in mind as well. And then the Thresh locked in on the side of Gambit and LeBlanc.
All right, so okay, there's the troll. Sejuani's highlight.
Maybe not. All right.
I don't think he's going to be locking that in. So they'll probably pick. I think Zed is really the only pick that's up that he'd really want to play into LeBlanc. Maybe an Orianna. That's one of Link's go-to champions as well.
Oriana can neutralize that lane pretty well, but then we saw yesterday, I think in the Oriana LeBlanc matchup, that the LeBlanc ended up roaming every time in one of the matches. So I think it's a skill matchup, and you just gotta watch out that neither of the picks can just influence the map by roaming, especially if you let the LeBlanc go loose, it could snowball pretty ugly. However, with the Thresh, if Gambit ends up 2v1ing, like Saint said, Thresh is such a good champion for 2v1. Once he's level 2, that's basically all he needs to basically start disrupting lanes. He can help the jungler, he can just show up anywhere, he has 2 CC spells. Might get rough for Zion Spartan if the 2v1 works out.
I haven't really seen too much Lucian out of this tournament. This will be, I think I only saw him like once or twice before this, and I mean, Doublelift is like renowned to play as Lucian, so.
He was banned a lot against Doublelift yesterday.
Yeah,
so.
He is a little bit turned down on this patch. He's a little bit nerfed, but I still think he's really strong in the mid game.
And the Elise locked in there for Thinkard. He didn't have that many options left, and we'll see how he fares on this.
I think Elise is a really good pick because it pairs really well with Aurelia. You can just basically camp top lane the whole game, and it's really hard to itemize against the magic damage and the physical damage, so I think it's a really good pickup for them.
I'm usually not a big fan of Elise, but after seeing 3 jungle bans and then make your next best bet being Sejuani, then I think picking Elise is a decent choice here. And as Saint said, yeah, you can dive really easy because you can drop the tower aggro. Aurelia, once she goes low, she can stun as well. You can see C-Chain and do a lot of damage here. And I wonder why we're not seeing any Janna though. We're approaching like 5th and 4th.
Well, Thresh is already locked in.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you're right. No, I'm just wrong.
I mean, they could also go for Morgana as well, which is pretty good to match Thresh's roaming ability. Morgana can do just about as much pressure in like a 2v1 or in the roaming scenario.
Looks like they're going to go for the top laner here possibly, or Sejuani and Gnar hovered over, and that's indeed what it's going to be.
Okay, so that's actually kind of strange that they would lock the Gnar in there when a lot of people consider Aurelia to be a decent counter to the Gnar.
Unless they want a 2v1.
Yeah, unless they want a 2v1, but I don't really know how I feel about Gnar in the 2v1. If you actually properly stack the wave and freeze it really hard on the Gnar, then it's a really big problem for him. But Aurelia, it's the same thing. You're just going to basically be trading off denying top laners.
And on the other side, still have a mid lane and a support. You guys think it's going to be Janna maybe? Nami coming out. Alistar could go again for Afromu. Although it didn't go that well yesterday, he wants to prove something here.
I don't. It's probably just going to be a Janna. Like, that's the safest pick here.
Depends on if Link does end up choosing that Oriana, then Alistar becomes a lot more valuable for the team. I'm not too big of a fan of the Janna Oriana combo in the same team, so Alistar Ori is something they could pull out of here. Janna Zed at the same time could be good too.
Corki was left open, so maybe Doublelift picks it up here, although it's not his favorite.
Oh, they have Lucian only.
Okay,
right,
so actually, Keen, the mid lane for our team, he actually likes this matchup a lot because you can just survive out the lane. You can build a lot of sustain on casting in the lane. You can get a flash, and the Q also helps you from getting burst by the LeBlanc. And you have equal roaming pressure too. So
I think it's a good pick. You no longer get silenced, so you can always counter trade and have that Q proc, give you a magic damage shield, and then LeBlanc can't whittle you down as much. And later in the game, Cassian becomes a monster in teamfights as well. Like if he gets a lot of AP, he can start jumping at the outskirts of the teamfight and basically like do the same thing LeBlanc does. A little less initial like instant kill burst, but he has good sustained damage in those fights.
I think it's a good pick into the Sejuani too, because Sejuani is all about locking somebody down and catching them out. Whereas if you lock down a Cassian, he's like, oh, well, I can just jump away from this. He's like, I'm good to go.
And then on the other side, still the 80 carry left to be decided. Corki Graves, maybe, if you know, he went huge on that yesterday as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be, yeah, this is going to be the Graves. But I think Lucian into Graves is a pretty even matchup, and I'd actually give it to the Lucian Janna lane. If
Lucian Janna should be stronger than Thresh Graves, but it's outplayable on both accounts. But I'm still wondering if they're going to lane swap or not. Otherwise, that Aurelia might get really big against Gnar, especially with the Elise pressure.
Yeah, we'll see. I think both scenarios, the 2v1 are like the head-to-head would be good for both teams in this situation. Because Aurelia, you kind of don't really want to 2v1 that much with it. But I don't know. We'll see how Zion's feeling.
Based on the comp, who do you give it to?
They're pretty equal, I'd say. Really, it's going to depend on the early game. If they can get the Cassian out of the early game and get him going, I would give it to CLG. But if they get hit hard early, then probably Gambit.
All right.
Yeah, if Cabochard gets fed, I think Gambit has a good chance. If he doesn't, if Cabochard falls behind, that might be enough to give CLG the win.
All right, we will see how it plays out. We'll be right back after this with the first game of CLG versus Gambit.
Shots fired.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Intel Extreme Masters. We're moving into the first game of the grand final here in Cologne. CLG taking on Gambit. Gambit, traditionally the Intel Extreme Masters team. That might be a different story today. I think most people are tipping CLG to win this one.
Yeah, after they fixed their mistakes from game 1 against Rocket, they actually looked super strong in the last series. Science Spartan on the Jack's pick was great. Now he has Aurelia taking it away from Cabochard, who was an absolute beast on it in game 1 yesterday.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out for them. As you mentioned, Intel Extreme Masters is Gambit's tournament. That is the one they won countless times throughout 2012 and 2013. But Counter Logic Gaming looking for their first victory in a long time, honestly. It's back at Gamescom 2012, I think it was.
Saint on the team as well.
Team Solo Mid. Yeah, Saint was on the team as well, yeah.
It'd be a funny story as well. It'd mean that Think Cards won as many tournaments in Double Lift in 4 days.
Here's a thing for you. CLG only ever won tournaments when they had a substitute.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that man is on your screen right now. Of course, CLG, Zion Spartan, Think Card, Link, Double Lift, and Afro Moo coming into this one.
And of course, for Gambit, it is Cabochard in the top lane. Apparently a perfume. Diverprox in the jungle on the Russian boar, Seshwani. And Nick in the mid lane on LeBlanc. Pinoy, well, can he be manly once again on Graves alongside Big Eddie on Thresh?
And I really want to see in this game here how Gambit will handle the solo laners from CLG, because they were the star players yesterday. Doublelift managed to get a lot of kills in the end in the team fights, but Zion Spartan and Link were the big players here that carried them into late game, and then Doublelift could take over.
Well, it is a deep ward possibility for Gambit. They're moving in and around the bottom red buff. Looks like they want to get that lower lane. So is this going to be a sign that they want to get them 2v1 lanes that the desk was talking about? Of course, we'll see Cabochard on Nah. I kind of feel that Na's much better at 2v1 than Aurelia. Like, I know Saint was obviously questioning it, but when you were to compare, clearly, obviously, if you're pushed on the tower, Aurelia is going to be fine. But if you're freezing a lane, you got to feel Na just simply with the boomerang gives him a much bigger advantage.
Yeah, having a double range down this bottom lane with Gnar and then Thresh as a support is a bit easier and safer to push out the lane. And Gnar has the advantage. He doesn't need a power spike in mid game with Trinity Force. He can actually go full tank instead and just be useful in these teamfights. And Eddie, he's behind enemy lines.
Yeah, he's not actually spotted though, so, you know, this stealth Thresh doing the work. Now he's been spotted though, and Elisa's going to come across. He's going to walk in the right direction here. Look at the minimap. We see there that Think Card's on the bottom side by the Krugs, and Eddie says, no, not a chance. I know what's going on here. We'll be able to get away. Actually, Cabochard going low there as he does the Grump at the start.
Yeah, right now here, Pinoy was helping Cabochard during the Grump, so he gets level 2. But the bottom lane from Gambit, on the other hand, has really been denied early on. CLG with a massive advantage here early. Should get the early level 2 as well.
We'll see if it works out. Of course, it did mean that CLG also didn't go for them Krugs. Aframu taking a lot of damage earlier in this exchange. Yeah, Eddie. You see when he starts throwing those hooks out early? Pretty sure he's leveled up Flay as level 1. We'll see what he does on Aframu, who goes straight in with a Howling Gale. Doublelift quickly on there, but there is the Flay onto Doublelift, and that will slow things down. But good trade for CLG that time.
Yeah, not the best start for Gambit because Science Spartan was actually doing the Merc Wolves at the same time. Let's see what Diamondbox can do in here. Well,
there's a dive in from him, and he takes a tower hit, but we see the instant flash from Link. That's very reminiscent of, I think, the first time we saw Sejuani played yesterday by Diamond, actually, in the mid lane.
Only difference here, Diamond used his flash yesterday. He didn't this time around, so he can go for another gank. And he actually just did 2 camps himself, and then he walked in for the gank only with the red buff. Recalling now, you can see on the minimap, his blue buff is still open. He can go there now, get to his level 4, and then go for the next gank.
I think Card's going to try and counter that. He's heading up towards the top there. Oh, this is good aggression on Link. Actually may get the root down. Not enough to finish him, but that is a juicy target for a jungler if I've ever seen one. And Nick may be even fancying this one. Haven't seen a lot of LeBlanc for Nick, actually. But look at the top lane. Think Card coming around the back of Cabochard.
Let's see what he can do with this one. Cabochard might be forced to flash. He'll use the jump first of all. And since he is in Mega Gnar form, he's got plenty of HP to actually survive that one. We'll be able to just walk off. Flash was, in fact, used there. So Cabochard won't have that one for this next time around should ThinkCard decide to visit that top side of the map once again. Meanwhile, Diamond, we saw already that he managed to get the burn on Link's flash, and he's going to visit this middle lane once again. Nick might have to be careful, though. He is a little bit lower. ThinkCard will dive in. Nick will get the stun off here to Link, but I don't think that they've got the follow-through damage. ThinkCard is underneath the tower. He's going to take one more hit. He goes down, and Diamond will get first blood. Nick's low HP. He looks like he's going to try and come around. There's a knock-up, and Diamond on Sejuani gets the double kill here in the final.
And yesterday, Diamond was talking about how weak Sejuani could be in the early game, and yet he goes in here, he gets 2 kills. ThinkCard, he wanted to be the hero here. He wanted to flash and try and finish off. Top lane, though, Cabochard in problem.
Oh, it's just about got away. The slow was there. He turns it back around with a boomerang and tries to put some damage down of himself, but this is what you're talking about. Yesterday, that went the other way for them, and that was so close to a double kill for Link.
Super close. I mean, ThinkCard, he thought he could just finish off Nick here, but I'm not even sure how much HP there was left. Maybe 10, 15. Yeah. Enough at least. Turn it around. 3 tower shots in the face of ThinkCard, and Diamond can just clean it up here with the double buff. And this Sejuani, he's going to be building full tank. Getting 2 kills early on. For this very first dragon fight, we might see an unkillable Russian bear running into people.
Still with flash available as well. We'll see how it works out for them. Pinoy takes a Zephyr from Aframu. We haven't seen too much aggression from this bottom lane pairing. It's been fairly even traded between the two. We do have a pause, though, for now. We'll see what exactly is up on that one. If you've just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne Grand Final. It is a best of 5 on 4.21 patch between Gambit on your screens there and Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah, and I think Carmack actually posted on Reddit yesterday, and of course we announced that the winner of this tournament, as ever, will go to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships in Katowice, which will happen in 2015. And we also, the thing that really interested me when Carmack, posted that, and we said, we've got the Expo off at the side, which will have the StarCraft 2 and Counter-Strike in there for the first couple of days, which means that League of Legends gets the Spodek Arena all to itself with a big stage. That's going to be absolutely incredible. Yeah, that is a big arena. We've obviously filled it out the last few years, and it's always had magical moments. You think of Gambit coming back and taking down the 2 Azubus that year. Peke getting the back door on poor old SK Gaming, poor old Kevin, in fact, who is actually here in person. He'll love me reminding him of that. Every time I see him, I remind him. He absolutely
I'm sure every single SK Gaming fan loved that moment.
Well, I mean, Peke absolutely did. It's what put him on the map, really.
Indeed.
Despite the fact he was already Season 1 World Champion, then that's really what set him on light. Clearly, you can see there's a problem with Edwards' computer or whatever he's got going on at the moment. That is the problem in esports. You got to rely on hardware sometimes, but it's always ever aligned. It looks like is it a mouse or is it game client? Not too sure. It's not a mouse. I can see it's still glowing red. So that's working. Well, red's usually a color that you don't want to see anything electrical glowing, but I think you might just, have it that way anyway. But yeah, actually on Monday, the early access tickets go on sale. So the thing that we with Katowice is actually free entry for everyone. However, you can buy early access tickets, which basically means you don't have to stand in line. And trust me when I say big lines. There are big lines in Katowice. Hopefully, it'll be more like last year's weather and not like the years before, where it was about -5 or 6 or 10 degrees and basically full of snow, which was I think a less than fun time for people queuing up on that one. But if you want to get yourself to Katowice, definitely recommend those early access tickets. And, well, one of these 2 teams will be there in person, along with World Elite and, of course, Cloud9 already, who won the Intel Extreme Masters. Yeah, they're already in San Jose. Already booked themselves a place. Looked like it was a resolution problem. You can see Eddie scrolling through on the Windows monitor settings there. So, looks like he's going to get himself sorted. Thumbs up. All good to go. So, hopefully, we'll be unpaused to no own. Apparently it was a FPS drop, but that's obviously something that us as non-pro players always just play through anyway, because we'd have no clue whether there is a difference. But clearly when you're a top Thresh player in the world, it makes all the difference on them hooks, and we are back live. Let's see how this bottom lane pairing works out. Let's quickly recap on what has happened. You can see it's 2-0 if you just joined us. It's a double kill for Diamond Prox on Sejuani. Yes, that is correct. It is Sejuani in the jungle, working well. Has Diamond found himself another jungle pick?
It's just like the good old days where Diamond is always the first one to find the new picks. I still remember when I played, it was Nasus he came out with.
He's going again.
Volibear. He wants more in this mid lane.
Trying to get in onto Link. He still doesn't have flash. He's not level 6. And guess what? He's going down. Diamond actually wanted to leave that there, I think, for Nick. Ended up getting it to get his third of the game. Meanwhile, Pinoy and Edward taking some hammering down in the bottom lane. They will stay safe there. No summoner spells actually burnt.
And we really see Gambit put so much focus on this mid lane here. Shut down Link early on. He was fantastic yesterday. He's playing Kassadin. It takes time to scale up here. You delay it now. Rod of Ages is going to make it, or the delayed Rod of Ages is going to make it harder for Link to have an impact in this mid game. Right now, though, Diamond's not done yet.
Yeah, looks like he could go for kill number
There's
4.
no
He's
flash on Zion Spartan.
hanging around. Zion Spartan and Kabashad have traded already, so they both used that flash up in the top lane. Wonder if they're waiting to see where the Mega Dart comes out. Eddie tried to flame into the tower range, I think there. That was what the plan was. But there's Diamond going to spot out, so he'll clear out that ward. Mega Dart was pulled from Zion Spartan, so that's going to be back to normal. But this is getting Nick going. This is something that I think they often need a little help with. And it's good to see Diamond actually making ganks work out.
Yeah, and it's good to see Gambit as well changing up the picks in the mid lane, because back in the LCS and the Summer Split, we saw a lot of Lulu, Zex as well, and Nidalee being played in the mid lane.
All those
here.
fun ones.
The fun ones. So Nick was often just left alone to sit and farm and just start poking and wave clearing. Now they've changed it up. We see LeBlanc, we saw Zed yesterday as well. They want to get Nick going. They want to make sure he's actually part of the mid game and part of carrying the team.
I would say one problem here, though, while Nick is continuing to have aggression onto Link, is while he's 2-0 up, he's still actually behind in farm.
It is very hard for him to actually poke out the Kassadin because of the magic shield. You don't have to silence either, so you can always land a Q back from Kassadin and get the shield up here, avoid the damage. You also see Link. When you start Flask, 3 potions, and you build your Catalyst as the first item, that is a lot of sustaining lane.
Ulti used by Zion Spartan in the top lane to try and clear that wave. That signals that he's trying to back away. Pinoy back down the bottom lane. Howling Gale comes through, but Eddie lands the hook this time. Pinoy with exhausted though. Doublelift taken low. Is it got enough to try and take him down? No! The life bind from Doublelift. Eddie flashes in and finishes it with a flay. Uh-oh, here comes trouble. Eddie, Dinkard and Link comes around the side. He's going to pin him down. The cocoon comes in. No matter what flay he does, he will go down, and that is a kill for Link.
But look at the mid lane here. Instantly Diamond, he comes in, he joins Nick. They want to push down this tower because Link was roaming. He did the same yesterday. He likes to impact the map very, very early here. 2-for-1 trade in the bottom lane, but a mid tower in here.
Yeah, it looks like he may well go down. You can see Nick and Diamond chunking it down right now. No real response. Zion Spartan pulled away. That's actually going to lose him out in the top lane. He's already behind in farm. You see 59-47. They're coming down to protect that tower. We'll see whether they try and take a dragon from this, because they know that Diamond and Nick are relatively low. We'll see what CLG try and make. It's going to be a blue buff for Gambit.
Yeah, not really enough wards around this dragon here for CLG to safely start it with this many players around. So wisely enough, decided not to do it and actually just go back in the lanes. But Zion Spartan saved the mid tower. Had to give up some farm in his top lane though.
Well, that push still in there. Nick will come back around with his blue buff on. Nice little chain landing. But not actually proccing. Look at Pinoy going aggressive. We'll throw the ulti in. There's the flash. One more auto attack will do it, and he manages to take him. You know what? Afro Moon might go down as well. Oh, that's a fantastic monsoon. No, we'll get him away from it. Rest of the team from CLG starting to collapse in, but Eddie. Can they get the kills? Edward at the backside. Pinoy will be the focus here first of all. Link will take him down. How can Eddie get away with this one without that box? He'll use the flash first of all, and then the end goes down. And actually wasn't even a flash there. He just moved forward, didn't have the flash available to him, and that will be a bit of a cleanup down the bottom lane. They've taken the mid tower though.
Yeah, but look at the 2 pink wards here in the river by CLG. That's why they can roam from the mid lane unseen down to this bottom side and once again pick up some kills. Link, he started 0-2. Now he just got 3 kills in the bottom side. Very, very important for CLG. Yes, they lost the mid tower. Opens up the map for Nick. You might even see him in action now.
They're going to come around the back. Let's see whether Diamond and Nick can get onto them. Link's going to be the focus target. Teleport does come down. Zion Spartan joins the party. Thinkard's been drawn into this one a little too long. Teleport comes out. Here's Kabashard coming around the side. Link's going to be the next focus, but he manages to get the kill on towards Nick. The Kabashard gets in, gets himself a second. Zion Spartan now there. He collapses on towards Diamond. Coming around the side is Doublelift. He's going to look towards him, but Eddie pulls out the lantern. Back onto Doublelift. Can't turn it around. gets the kill. It is a crazy start to the game. We've already got 13 kills in 11 minutes.
And everyone is just running down to this bottom lane here. They want to be part of the action. Diamond Prox on this Sejuani, he's just absolutely insane. Every time he locks onto a target, he will just perma-CC them, kill them. What can we say? The guy has 3 kills already and 3 assists.
3-0-3, a dragon here for Gambit as well. And that puts them nicely into the lead overall. If you look at the goal difference between the junglers there as well, a massive difference. Really good start. I never thought we'd see the day when I'd say Sejuani is maybe going to be banned in the next game, but that might actually be coming into this one as Link going a bit aggressive there onto Nick. But Nick, I have to say, I never really particularly enjoyed watching him play in the LCS last season. Must be also the fact that he was playing Ziggs, Nidalee, and Lulu in that mid lane, which aren't exactly the most thrilling champions to watch. But so far here at Intel Extreme Master Cologne, playing more assassin champions, which I actually feel he's doing really well with.
The whole playstyle from Gambit has changed completely. You see Pino on this Graves in the bottom lane. He keeps flashing forward, killing people. He got double if one-on-one before here, just flashing in his face. That is something Genji would never do. So you have a complete change in playstyle now from the Gambit we saw in Season 4, where it's a lot more aggressive. They want to make the plays. Sometimes it can backfire. Let's see what happens in this bottom lane.
Bottom lane is getting poked. Diamond's waiting in the top as well. We'll see whether anything happens there. He's just being drawn out. Eddie trying to bully them out. This is definitely a lively lane for sure. Diamond, he's been sat here for a while now, but Zion's about to pull a ward straight in his head, comes straight charging across, tries to lock on towards him. He has got his ultimate available now, remember. He could lock him down. Zion Spartan comes around, dashes onto Kabashard, who turns into Mega Gnar. He's tanking it through, will flash, but he gets the kill. Link is coming though. We'll see whether he's able to clean up anything. I think he's going to have to back away because he's got pressure from Nick in mid.
Just a super nice setup. Kabashard staying near the wall as well, so Zion Spartan, in case he jumped him, you just knock him straight back into the wall, kill him, take another tower here. Gambit is putting so much focus on the soul laners early on, where they want to go and push the towers every single time anyone is roaming from CLG, and it's been paying off, but they need to clear these pink wards in this river here. It's too easy for Link to roam around and nobody can spot him.
Well, the problem is because Diamond's just not gone down that river yet. He's been spending so much time in the mid and top. It means the bottom lane is getting focused. Link, though, is spotted out by a pink ward, so nothing coming from it. And it's actually drawing Nick towards them.
Not sure about this one, Eddie. Going in there into the Tribush. Link will rift walk back to that tower. And there was Nick coming down as well to get involved. And this is the Diamond that we used to see almost every game for Gambit as well. The Diamond that carried them to, you know, success time and time again. And I think it was somewhat missing, to be honest, last year.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't actually shine before relegation, where it really mattered for Gambit, and everyone kind of stepped up, but especially him and Edward, actually, 2 members who we criticized during the summer split because we just didn't see the same performance. Again, we have to remember they are one of the few teams who doesn't have a gaming house. They have to travel from Russia to Cologne to play, and now obviously it's going to be Berlin.
Mid lane collapse.
It makes it super hard to get enough practice in, and you will fall behind.
Nick backing away. Like you say, you know, they've had however many months it is since the LCS finished, obviously, to confirm their roster and practice. Basically, I mean, I don't know how much practice they do in the off-season. Some teams obviously like to take time off, but they've obviously been able to certainly work on their solo cube mechanics. So there is that pink ward finally going down. He spent a good 10 minutes there, so he's done his job, that's for sure. Nick picks himself up the blue buff, and we'll return to mid lane.
Yeah, I do want to see Gambit pick up some more pink wards themselves, because CLG are the only ones who goes back. The only pink wards on the map, except for the one we had in bottom lane before, has belonged to CLG, and it simply means they have the vision control and being able to roam around. Gambit, with all the gold they picked up from these kills, invest them into some pink wards.
Oh, bot lane could become a bit of a party once again. Diamond looks like he might want to get a ward in that Tribush. Is he going to come down bottom? He is headed down bottom. Kabashard not moving from that top lane just yet. His TP is so close to being off cooldown. In the end, though, we saw Zion Spartan walk all the way down there, and he's going to walk all the way back as well, as Nick getting a little bullied here in that mid lane now by Link, who's got his Rod of Ages. Bit more tanky now to survive the pressure.
Good play from Link there. He spotted that, obviously, Nick had just used his combo and quickly straight away back on his face. Forced him actually to back away from that tower. Going to give him a little free time there. Kabashard, as you mentioned, is still pushing that top lane. Remember, the advantage he built up yesterday over Gansu was pretty horrific, honestly, but that was, of course, when he was playing Aurelia, which has been picked by Zion Spartan. No slouch on that champion, that's for sure. But the mid lane, once again, Link going in trouble. Diamond on him.
Yeah, what's Diamond going to do? He's going to use the ultimate. Here comes Nick from the side. Diamond Proc's getting a rampage. ThinkCard didn't think about this one. He's come from the backside. Will finally get some backup from his teammates. Nick tried to get in there in the end, but had to actually use the flash to do so. They managed to keep ThinkCard alive, but they lose Link once again. It's Diamond that's picking up all the kills, though. You'd like to see a couple of those going over towards Nick's side, I think.
Of course, I mean, Diamond, he has enough gold already to be super tanky, but every single time he hits a target, he gets his Eater permafrost onto them, slows them down, and even the Castellin who can jump away with his ulti, as long as he's still slowed, Diamond can just follow up, stick to him, and keep him locked down. And it's been working so far.
Well, they saw the pink ward. They didn't want to take it down. Eddie in the pit at the moment. We'll see whether he finds the pink ward that's been in the bush for forever and a day. Nope, not going to check it. He knows there was this one in this tri-bush, though. Wonder if they're going to think to check the bush behind them. Nope, they're going to leave it alone. Or did they just get it? Oh, no, someone just placed one, so he moved it immediately. Pinoy in trouble here. Oh, the Cullen not quite catching him out there. Dragon up in 10 seconds' time. It's Gambit that are on set up for this one. But look at the top lane. Diamond is the man that's up there stopping Link, so he's a long way from this fight right now.
Yeah, 2 members top here. Only one of them has teleport ready, so if Gambit does start the Dragon here, they should be able to pick it up with the 5 members nearby. Diamond is coming down as well. Everyone collapsing straight onto the Dragon.
I think it's a turret trade, looks like. You can see.
It should be in the end. I mean, Link just stopped his recall, so he's actually going to stick around that one. And I think Cabochard, will come up, so they're going to try and hold on to this turret. They'll try and get the Dragon, which they will succeed on, but Cabochard going to get dove underneath his tower, and that'll mean a kill and probably the tower anyway.
Yeah, so with Link staying up there, knowing the Dragon was already gone, he just expected a teleport. As soon as it came in, they could dive. Still take the tower here, but look at Gambit, they're pushing mid lane.
They're going to try and push the mid and bottom. You can see Doublelift's going to head off Pinoy, but mid lane is Diamond and Nick, so they're going to try and put pressure on both towers, knowing they were losing that top one. Looks like it may well be the bottom. Doublelift on his own right now. Eddie comes down, the hook lands on him, pulls him into that box. Nicely played. Should get taken down, but there's the shield from Aframu once again, saving the day for his support.
Diamond is
immediately. Diamond coming around the side. Doublelift in trouble. There's the teleport from Zion Spartan. That will call the recall. Nick now might actually find ThinkCard in the jungle. Everybody from Gambit does disengage.
Holy.
Wow.
Moly.
In the face.
Yeah. That was like really max range. Didn't expect him to actually connect with that one, and a kill coming in for Pinoy.
I didn't see whether Doublelift actually dashed into it. It looked like I don't know. I just don't know what he was thinking.
So the thing is here, Pinoy early on, he actually got the brutalizer, so he's investing heavily onto this early game here, as much power as possible. Getting this early armor penetration really makes your spells hurt a lot on this Graves. It does mean he delays his own late game build. You don't really want to have the Ghostblade late game, but for now, as long as he can pick up the kills, it will be worth it. But we're gonna have to see if Gambit can then close out the game.
Well, it's a brutal game, that's for sure. 2-2 all square in turrets. 11-6 in kills. Very action-packed start here. 4-0-4 Diamond Procs. We'll see how that continues. Not ideal that the kills didn't go to Nick. Just think of a 5-1-4 right now, because most of them have been in that mid lane where the kills were.
Yeah, he would have DFG by now.
Yeah, he would have DFG. He would be a scary, scary beast. And the likes of Aframu and Janna would be extinguished in seconds. Cabochard's going to get spotted by ThinkCard's skittling spider. And that means, of course, the top lane is going to be left empty. Something that has kind of gone unchecked in this one is Zion Spartan. While he's had a fairly quiet game in that top lane, he's actually being set up for a gank right now, but I don't think he's going to fall for that one. He's just going about his business. Triforce is going to be completed soon. He's going to start the split push. How are Gambit going to react?
Well, the thing is, Doublelift just died again.
Well, Pinoy he's got his number at 0-5-1 right now.
I don't think Doublelift is used to playing against an AD carry who doesn't even care who you are. He just dives straight into your face.
Turn the names off and forget who you're playing against.
He just dashes forward all the time and destroys Doublelift. He's clearly not expecting it here, and he's just fallen so far behind in terms of the damage he can do. But Zion Spartan in this top lane, his Trinity Force has actually been delayed quite a lot. He had to get his Ninja Tabbies as well. He had to roam bottom lane a few times where he lost quite a lot of farm, in mid lane even to save the tower. So he's actually not the biggest concern for Gambit at the moment. Let's just see it again. Well, that's this beautiful setup. You start your ulti on Grace and then you flash after, and Double has no time to react.
Yeah, that was fast-paced. And what I love about Pinoy is actually he's just like a big esports fan. I know for a fact he was at DreamHack basically as a participant, or not a participant, a visitor, just watching the CSGO tournament. He was just there. It was just like, this is great. I love esports. He was just taking part in it. So obviously he's going to be in his element now. He's
pretty good at esports as well.
He's in his element now that he's actually realised, you know what, I'm actually pretty good at this game. Not bad, really. Working out well for him.
Well, certainly having a good time here against Double Lift. And we see there the Elixir of Wrath picked up. That didn't make Double Lift's life any easier.
No, I mean, again, it's simply Pinoy saying, I am super strong right now, and I'm going to use it. So I will keep looking for these kills. CLG really needs to play passive against him here. Wait it out, let him lose the gold, and catch someone like Eddie.
Yeah, that Colin's going to take him down, and now Diamond's just going to have to charge away from that one. That's a little bit too much of a face check. Can they take more from this one? Zion Spartan comes in. There's the ulti from Diamondblocks. Meganar comes out, misses his combo, does get the slam on CLG, points them on the wall. Aframu's going to get taken down. Pinoy comes around the side. Can they get yet more from this one? It's a double for Nick so far. They're going to keep on chasing. Wow, what a turnaround. And that is the power of Nah.
And CLG at the moment, they shouldn't be fighting. Take your pick onto Eddie and then back away. Do not follow in here. You know the Graves is insanely strong at the moment. He didn't even use his potion this time. And also, you have this little bunk here who has the DFG completed and an insanely tanky Sejuani. Go and fight them.
Well, there's a repel, but it's a repel to death for ThinkCard. Will manage to proc a passive there of Nick, but they go in towards Link, who's got underneath the tower, but what are they going to do with it? TP is coming in behind, and that'll be Zion Spartan trying to change around. Cabochard will get away. Nick will, of course, be able to dodge away, but will Pinoy be able to escape this one? He's going to try his damn hardest. He's going possibly for Link at this stage. We'll try and turn it around, but the three of them there, just too much damage.
So Gambit just staying around here, looking for more kills. 40 seconds on the Dragons, so Pinoy will be offered. Let's just see it again here. CLG got the pick onto Eddie, but the rest of Gambit is joining in. Nick comes here on the top of your screen, and look at this ulti from Cabochard.
Flash.
3 members, beautiful. Diamond joins in, and now Pinoy comes, finish off the fight, and you can just clean. Double Waves at the moment, he's just dying. All the time.
Yeah, not had any impact in this game. Well, I say not had any impact. He, of course, has, because he's given 5 kills, basically, over to Pinoy, and that's an impact if I've ever seen one. But really not having the best game right now. And you know, there must be a lot of pressure on a player like Double Lift as well coming into today's game. With the big storyline, I guess, was that Double Lift gets into a final and may win his first title with CLG. That is pressure in itself, so we'll see how he handles this one moving forward. Right now, though, he's definitely being outshone by his opposite number, Pinoy, and now Gambit looking for their third dragon pickup of the game.
And they will get it. I mean, now CLG realized we can't even go and contest this one. What's already set up by Gambit as well. Beautiful. And now the problem is for CLG, Dragons becomes a ticking time bomb. You cannot give them the 5th dragon in the game. So the next one, they're going to have to at least consider contesting it. And if they give it over for free to Gambit, then the last one, they have no choice. You have to take the fight, and it might be too late then.
I'm watching Diamond just roaming around. We've also got this setup up the top. Cabochard's in the bush. I don't think he quite realizes that Link is there. Well, he does now because he just took out the ping ward. He knows full well that he's there. Zion Spartan may be the focus, which is why Link's sticking around, because Nick has made his way up there. Diamond Procs hanging around the red buff. They know this is happening. Pinoy is just below them, but not a lot of support to follow through. That red buff will be taken away just about. ThinkCard ended up picking that up.
There's no tankiness to CLG either at this point because of that haunting guise that was picked up there by ThinkCard. Obviously, Zion Spartan straight in for that Trinity Force, and they just can't compare to the staying power in fights that Gambit have.
No, I have no idea why you have your haunting guys at the moment here on Elise. What you want to do normally is you get your Stalker's Blade, and then if you want this early magic penetration, you upgrade your boots, and you get the magic penetration from there. It's cheaper as well. It gives you an earlier spike, and then you go tank from there on and out because you don't need more damage. Him building these haunting guys is just going to delay his tankiness, and he already got it too late when their early ganks were already over.
Well, we'll see how it works out. Nick, of course, picked up the double kill in that last exchange, which is gave him that DFG, and well on his way to a potential Void Staff maybe. Looking towards Zion Spartan, obviously on the Aurelia, we've seen how strong they can get, but with just a single null magic mantle at the moment, he absolutely may be a juicy target for Nick. We'll see which way they go.
Want to bait double lift here.
Yeah, they've been sat there for a while.
He's going to see the juicy minions. He wants the farm. Gambit though, don't want to sit around for
the
too
draw
long.
of the AD carry.
They
the
all
juicy
want it.
minions.
It's almost a little bit too obvious because Pinoy feeling so safe just pushing it up here so they know someone is around because there's obviously no tower behind him either. And it would be a little bit of a risky situation if the rest of Gambit weren't nearby. But Eddie still staying around.
And double lift. Slowly but surely edging forward. There is Pinoy and
it's the three in the
He's
middle.
just going to freeze it. This is super smart by him. He groups up all the minions, so you see they focus the same one. This starts a slow push, which goes towards Gambit, and therefore denies double lift the potential farm.
That's a good deep ward that CLG managed to get in the river. It's just timed out now, and that gave them the knowledge that Diamond and Nick were both there as double lift gets a little bit of damage. It can show that he can still put some good burst, even onto Diamond, the most tankiest member. Link, though. Oh, Nick trying to get caught out, tries to juke them, goes back to his Mimic. Well, Link showing that he has got a lot of damage on Nick if he needs it.
Yeah, all these early kills here for Link has really made him strong on this Kassadin, and he's going to be the carry in this game. Like we saw yesterday as well, Link performing super well. He has to do it on Kassadin. And we might see Gambit and his team fight just try and shut him down early. If he goes for an Outlast, it becomes even harder. If he goes for Death Cap, it could be super risky for him, as there is a lot of CC coming in from Gambit.
I think you had a slip of the tongue there where you said Nick trying to get caught out. It actually looked like he was trying to get caught out, though. You know, diving full on into that brush with two men on the tower as well. Let's see if Pinoy, though, has got the burst damage. I guess that probably signals a possible no at this stage. He's like, well, if I don't, then I'm dead afterwards, that's for sure.
Actually popped his potion while standing in there and then decided it was a little bit too risky.
I mean, his team probably just said no.
Yeah, look at where the rest of the Gambit is on the map. Nobody was nearby in case two members from CLG showed up.
They're trying desperately to set these traps to find Eddie or just someone roaming into the bush. There is Eddie, you can see him just off the side, but he has got Nick nearby. There's the sweeping lens.
Don't do
spot
it.
the ward, but look at it. Look how cautious they're playing. They're completely aware of the trap.
So as soon as you spot the ward here and you see the duration on it, you know it's just been placed.
It's just been put
We have
there,
0 wards in the river, so they are standing right there waiting for us.
And they've reacted. They've gone straight across to the side.
I still want to see more wards from Gambit. If they really want to like force CLG out of their own jungle, they need to buy more wards. At the moment, it's just all invested into items.
That was the ulti coming out from Pinoy there onto him. Zion Spartan actually called out. Oh, that dead sentence was pinpoint. So close. Zion Spartan just about getting away with a whisker there. Puts a good burst back onto Diamond Procs. But Cabochard not with the team right now. That's going to get spotted. They've just used a scrying orb, actually. And CLG, they're rushing up the mid lane.
Yeah, but rushing to what? Maybe take the outer tower here, lose the inner tower in that top lane as well. Cabochard actually will be coming across, so they might even be able to cover this one off. They've got Janna around it. Double Lift will finish off that outer turret, but Cabochard will be around there to stop them pushing any further. They need to react to Gambit, who are now pushing with 4 men in this top lane.
It's going to be another tower. I mean, there's nobody to stop them here.
They're going to keep on going. There's the death sentence on Link. Diamond fancied it, takes the lantern, just backs away. Zion Spartan has backed. Used the TP to get back there quickly to defend it.
Oh,
now double lift. They're going to try and rotate on towards it. Diamond could flash stun him. Tries to go for him. Doesn't bother using the flash. So double lift dashes away. And well, it's an inner for an outer turret for Gambit.
And Diamond saving his ulti as well here. Didn't want to try and trade it for a flash with double lift because the dragon is coming up here in about 25 seconds. Going back as well, buy some items, pick up some wards as well from Diamond's side, and now you just gotta set up this vision control. Force CLG to come in and fight, because they cannot allow you to get more dragons.
Not sure if they want to back away. They know that the ward is still there, remember. Eddie scried it out, used his sweeping lens earlier on to find it. So they're well aware of the vision in that bush, and I think they're actually trying to bait it. Now they can see, of course, a fresh ward there, which they're going to clear out, but CLG trying to get vision in that dragon area.
Yeah, but 2 very key items has now been picked up by Gambit. Frozen Heart and also the Randuins for Cabochard. Against an Aurelia and a Lucian, this is so important to shut down their attack speed. Oh, they're going in.
They want to go for Nick. Nick's going to be the focus target. Gets away quite clean. Did take a burst, a null sphere from Link. Diamond again. This is actually very risky play for both teams. Like, whoever loses this is in a serious situation. Diamond may well just be the trouble. He gets absolutely annihilated. they can focus fire down that tank, and that's going to be the Dragon for CLG.
Yeah, again, so the problem is, Gambit at the moment, they're not looking at the Dragon timer properly. They're not timing it with getting down all the vision they need, and the time they go back to base. If you recall 25 seconds before it starts, it opens up for the other team to walk in, set up all their wards, and then look for this pick here, and it worked out for CLG. Diamond tried to clear the pink ward. In the end, he couldn't see anyone coming towards him, and he ends up dying. We really need to see Gambit use this advantage, control the vision, and then you can make the picks yourself with the LeBlanc pick.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's even necessarily just the timing on ward in there as well. If you look at the map generally, in the last 5-10 minutes even, Gambit have pretty much been running around and they didn't have much vision whatsoever of the entire map. And we also see that first Dragon for CLG worth more 31 minutes in than it was to Gambit when they first took it.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely an important one. Scrying orb was used by Doublelift, which spotted out Cabashard straight away, so he backed away from that bottom. But look at this. Gambit, they're going for Baron here. This is going to be sneaky. We can see Aframu and Link nearby. They're going to try and come in for this one. They're coming in as a pair. It's a dangerous play. Pinoy, you're going to have to dash out the back there. They do back away. They were spotted. CLG not letting them get away with a sneaky Baron now. That's actually leave a lot of open space. Remember, Zion Spartan doesn't have teleport, so they could continue to try and force that.
Look at Doublelift here. He wants to go down and try and gank Gnar in this bottom lane.
Oh, but they're close by.
Oh, it's going to work for him.
Oh, no, we'll hop away, but here comes Nick from the side. He's gone for Doublelift, but there is a summoner he'll use. I think he might be able to escape. No, last tick of the Ignite will get him, and that leaves Zion Spartan versus 3. Meanwhile, Diamond, here comes Pinoy as well in the jungle. They get set up perfectly. He bursts them down with the ultimate. Thinkard will hop away. Cabashard actually got knocked up, but a double ultimate against the wall, and the hook onto Afro as well. And that is 4 men down here for CLG. And now, if they didn't get a Baron before, they'll get it here. They may even be able to take an inhib with them.
So Gambit here simply just baiting out the gank to Cabashard in the bottom lane. Instantly, Nick is there.
I think they can win the game here, you know.
Yeah, there's 20 seconds left on Kassadin. Playing it safe though, backing away. You already have the ward set up for this Baron, and CLG is pinging it.
That explosive combo from Pinoy right now, absolutely decimating anyone that gets in his way. They're pushing up towards this Baron. Remember, teleport will be up for Zion Spartan. They have a ward just off the side there, so CLG completely aware of this. They're only just respawning though.
Can't do anything. You have to just give it up. I mean, even if Zion Spartan jumps in, it's just to give another kill and a Baron buff over.
We'll see whether he actually gets the teleport. Cabashard could TP across, but he's actually low on hit points. Here we go. Let's have another replay of this bottom fight.
Yeah, so Doublelift ganking in this bottom lane here, but look at Nick. He knows exactly how much damage he needs, so he flashes forward for an auto attack. So Doublelift ends up dying from the last tick of the Ignite. And meanwhile, Pinoy up here, as soon as he gets in, he can just destroy people. This combo with Sejuani's stun and then the burst from the Graves is working wonders. And Cabashard, second great ultimate of the game.
Followed by a easy hook for Eddie when the guy stood still. Ooh, Cabashard being camped out here. Is he going to keep on pushing with this wave? He's actually bounced across the Grump and unaware that there's 4 members of CLG lying in wait. Turns into Meganar. He's going to check the push. That's not actually what they want. He does slam them all. When he get away, bounces across. Will he be able to get away? The call in, is it going to be enough? Link may be able to close in. The rest of the team come through. Link doesn't get the kill. Nick comes to save the day, and now Pinoy tries to turn it around. Ultimate was Zonya'd out. And while Gambit do survive, CLG themselves are going to be thinking, whoa, that was actually close for us.
Overall, CLG actually took more damage there as well.
Well, at least they are buying time. Gambit had to use quite some time on this little fight. Diamond, he's not done yet.
He's on his own pretty much there, though. You're going to have to just wait for the rest of the team to actually come in. And what a turnaround. So just showing how tanky that Nari's. Link actually coming in. He's going to have to jump over the top there and does that. As you mentioned, no hourglass after he used it to get rid of the ultimate out of Pinoy earlier on. He's actually backing on a ward, and there is Nar coming in. Will be able to jump once, but will Cabashard be able to catch him up? There's a boomerang. There's a hook from Eddie. Steals it in style.
Well, that's dangerous because there's super minions pushing up that mid lane right now. That's a 40-second death timer. Almost certainly this bottom turret. Could they take an in here before Link spawns? That's the question.
I mean, probably 30 seconds, they're super far ahead. The AD carry can absolutely destroy these towers here. This should be another inhib for Gambit.
They're going to keep on pushing through. They've got two gigantic tanks as well. We should point that out, of course. Diamond and Cabochard can both take this. Turning in towards that Nah any moment now. Pounces on double lift. Just about dashes away. There's another inhib going down. Still 10 seconds on Link. And Gambit just walk away scot-free once again.
And all the gold here is just on Link. So as soon as he's gone, if he's low and he cannot join the fight again, or if they can actually focus him down, there's not really much else CLG can do. Doublelift is hitting his third item now, so he will start to do quite a lot of damage in these fights here. But there's so much armor being built up, and also all the attack speed reduction from Diamond and from Cabochard here, so it's going to be super hard for Doublelift to do anything.
Gotta hope for, I think, Pinoy or Nick to go a little bit too deep in this one. The rest of them might be just too difficult for them to take out. The Baron buff is actually going to run out here, which means less of a threat from Gambit's side, but honestly, they're that far ahead now. They will go for this if they land a hook. Well, onto a champion at least.
Well, that minion died.
It did. Got destroyed.
Showed him what was going on there. So, bottom wave, I think, I'm trying to see which way that's about to push itself. I think it actually may go in Gambit's favor. Top lane,
yeah, super minions
almost
as well,
certainly is going in their favor. Yeah, of course it is. Super minions, dorp. That's definitely going to go in their favor. Zion Spartan hooked in. Will they follow through? No, Meganar is out from Cabochard. Doesn't bother slamming anyone this time around. Just simply a case of the mechanics. And that tower, it could be tanked through at any point. Yeah. Zion Spartan just needs to try and get near to Pinoy. Nobody can get close to him at the moment.
All Gambit is doing is just forcing CLG to keep every single member on this top side, because you know the bottom lane is pushing. They're pinging it on the minimap as well.
That's a big wave on the bottom as well.
CLG needs to find they're going in.
They are going to go for this one. Actually, Nick going very low. There's a good culling from the back. Eddie has to flash away, but the first kill goes to Nick. Link will be on top of him, and he'll get the shutdown, but only one of them. And surely Gambit now can come back into this fight. Pinoy will throw his ulti on 3. Can he get any more? Nah will flash in. The slow lands on Aframoon, who also flashes from that one. Another slow comes in, but guess what? The base is already going down. The massive wave from the bottom lane will help Gambit through to take game 1 here in the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne Grand Final.
What a start for Gambit Gaming there. 14,000 up at the end there, but they had, honestly, the lead from all those crazy skirmishes that happened. Think back to the double kill for Diamond in that mid lane. That was oh so close to being a double kill for Link. It could have gone either way, but it was Gambit that came out on top this time around, and they got the lead. This is a best of 5 series, don't forget, so a long way to go, but a good start for Gambit.
And this is what Crumbs was talking about in the interview with Comic before this series started. Gambit at the moment, they play this absolutely insane style where they just constantly fight. It's not about warding, it's not about, you know, focusing on the objectives, it's taking fights and taking chances. We see Pinoy constantly flashing forward, trying to kill Doublelift. It worked for him this game. Next one, Doublelift has to be ready for this one. He has to play more passive, or at least respect the damage Pinoy can do.
Well, guys, don't forget that it is a best of 5, so there's still quite a long way to go, possibly. I mean, if you look at the expansion tournament, maybe there's not a long way to go. All those games somehow managed to be 3-0 this weekend, but what a start for Gambit. As we said at the start, you know, everyone's like, Gambit are good. CLG maybe not in their best form right now with the sub, but we're going to give it to CLG. It's Gambit that take game number 1. Going to be looking very strong moving into game number 2. But of course, first of all, we need to head over to Shox, Crepo, and Saint on the analyst desk.
Thank you.